Why, hello there, and welcome to a short Dars vlog. This video will be unlisted for the sake of answering a question. So, the question is, are supports really the easiest role to play? And the answer is yes and no. When I did say that in the Janna video, I was pretty upset, and I didn't get to really explain why I just said it. And it's generally yes, but also no, and here's why. So, for the easy part on being a support is that you can feed as hard as you want, and you are the least expected role to carry because you're the support. But at the same time, there's also ways that you can carry, making your AD carry really fed, or you can anti-carry by feeding really hard and making your AD carry not as fed. So that's where it kind of does rely on you, but you're like a two-man team. And instead of, like, let's say top lane feeds really hard, then they're more prone to make an impact on the game. Oh no, enemy top laner is super fed, and for example, the Rengar in that game, he was super fed. Me and Audwin ganked him. I died to him, and Malphite doesn't really do well with early game fighting, which happened that game, and it went bad. But basically the whole point is support really the easiest role to play? And the answer is yes and no. And for the easiest part, once again, because if you feed, your team can still carry you. But if you feed on a different role, then you're less likely to be carried. And here's another part. This is why support can be one of the hardest roles. Because since you're playing such a weak character, you have to make do with what you have, and you can't really carry your team. And that's where it becomes really hard. Um, you can play heroes like Annie or Thresh or Blitzcrank and make really, really amazing plays and carry your team really hard. For example, players like Madlife. Madlife is the textbook example of a godly support player who can almost single-handedly carry his team. But you see, Madlife is only a support, even though on CJ Frost, where they have a really like one of the strongest top laners in Korea, Shy, you know, even if Madlife's the best support in the game, there's no way for him to carry his team. And that one of the reasons why is because he's a support. Now, if Madlife was playing middle and he was a god of middle, like Faker is, then you would have Madlife middle, who's a god, and you would see better results from their team because it's a more impacted role of middle. So hopefully that explains a little bit. It was longer than I expected, but other thing is positioning in fights. You can uh, you can bait people and do all that kind of fancy stuff. And there's also the top and mid laners. You can play easy roles like Singed or Karthus, where you only have to press one button and run around. And um, those are the heroes that make that role easier to play. And when I say easiest to play, it isn't only by role, but what champion you play. Like if you play Lulu compared to Soraka, there's different CCs, there's different, like thought processes. Like let's say you're playing Soraka, all you have to do is press heal, silence enemy. Alt for your team, press spam Q for damage. It's very simple. But Lulu, you can save your team. You can use it to engage. You can use it to knock up. You're slow. You can choose to speed up your team or disable the enemy, or you can choose to shield your team or damage the enemy, and that's where it gets more complicated, and um, that's where supports and other roles is where it gets harder and easier to play. And when I say the easiest, once again, when I say I said support was the easiest role to play in the game, it's when I say that, probably means easiest to get carried on. But at the same time, you can also make more plays than AD carries or other laners if you have engaging abilities. But anyways, that's it for my vlog.